Hey, what's up guys? This is Boldbound Works, and this right here is my go-kart. Now, in this video, we are going to be fixing a couple things on this go-kart right here, because it does need a little bit of a tune-up and a few things fixed up here and there. But first, I'd like to give a backstory on this go-kart, you know, its history, its backstory, or whatever. So this go-kart, believe it or not, was actually an electric go-kart. And when I got it, it worked. And then the motor, the electric motor, it actually had like a real key and a accelerator pedal for the electric motor, and even a battery in the back. It was a bank of 4 12-volt batteries. It was a 48-volt go-kart. And essentially, after a decent amount of use, the motor finally just died. It was really weak, and you'd press the pedal and it would kind of jerk, and it wouldn't work. So I decided that I was going to convert it to gas, because I love gas engines, and I thought it'd be a fun project. So this go-kart has actually had 2 gas engines, which is really funny. The first gas engine that I got was from a tiller that my neighbor had, and he gave it to me, which is really nice. It's over here. It's the Briggs 5 horsepower flathead, really iconic engine. And essentially what happened with this engine was I had it for like 2 days and it worked. I took it off the tiller, mounted it on there, on the go-kart, and then it basically just stopped starting. It became really hard to pull start, not physically, but it just wouldn't, you would have to pull many times and then it just wouldn't start. So I opened it up, and what I found was that one of the valves, I think it was the intake valve, I haven't looked at this in a while, but the intake valve got melted and bent a little bit from the heat when I was like over revving it a little bit, and so it just got warped, and it was unable to build compression basically, so it just wouldn't fire. So I kind of gave up on that. I could buy a new valve, but I decided to look for a new engine, and this project was kind of on hold for months. And then on the roadside one day I was driving, and there was this dump pile. It had, believe it or not, it had car batteries, it had mowers, lawn mowers, like it had 2 weed eaters, chainsaw, all kinds of really cool stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe people dump this stuff. So I took a few of the things from the roadside, and then a lot of them ended up being really great, cool things or projects. But this was one of them. This motor was actually, you won't believe it, it was actually also on a tiller, a very rusty tiller. And I wasn't even sure if it ran or not, but I brought it home and I threw some gas in it, and it actually did fire up, but it was running a little rough, so I cleaned the carburetor and then mounted it on here. It mounted up just the same as how the old engine mounted up, because but when this go-kart was electric, it had a motor, right? But what I had to do is I actually, with the first engine, I had to drill with a metal drill bit into the go-kart's frame to make some holes, and then I bought this on Amazon. It was $26. It's a centrifugal clutch, and then I bought a chain and that. And so, yeah, the new engine lined up perfectly. The only thing that I needed to do when I had the new engine was I needed to move this gas tank right here, because this gas tank wouldn't fit under this bar. So you can see I just DIY made this. It's a bungee, and then this beam, this 2x4 right here, is actually literally screwed into the frame. Let me see if I can get under there to show you guys. Kind of hard to see. You see the screw right there? Goes through the frame. So yeah, this is pretty strong on there. But anyways, now let's get into what's wrong with this go-kart. Now, the first thing that's wrong with it is this chain. Now, I know it looks fine, but a little while back when I was riding in the yard, if you know these chains, when I bought this chain, it was too long, so I had to cut the chain. I don't have a chain breaking tool, so I just used one of those punches. It's one of my least favorite tasks, actually, trying to break these chains. They're really difficult. But let me just focus this. So basically, I don't know where it is. I gotta find it. But there's a spot in this chain somewhere. Probably gonna give me a moment. There it is. There it is. So you see here, there's this little master link right here. It looks like this little, almost like an E without the middle line. It's got kind of like a little bracket. Not really a bracket. It's like a flat piece with 2 things sticking out of it. It'll actually come out. If I popped it out, you see that would push out of there. That chain, this little piece goes in and out. So that, it's supposed to have, like all the other ones, it's supposed to have a master clip, like a clip that goes on there. And that clip fell in the grass out there, and I wasn't gonna go with a magnet and like try to search the entire yard, entire property for just this little tiny piece. It would literally be, the mission would literally be impossible. So what I did buy is some new master links like this. And then when they came, I realized that they were actually not the right fit. I could kind of tell from just looking at them. But what I do have is I can use one of the clips, the clips that go here in this new little pack. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So over here, it's this little bag here. And as you can see, they've got the little clips in here. This right here is the one that I'm going to be using. So that's the little pin. It almost looks like a horseshoe. It's got like this. It's kind of a little thing. But these are just too long. Now, the other thing that's too long, because these are too long and they don't match, there's also a plate on the thing. As you can see, some of them have it, some of them don't. But yeah, you see there how there's that little thing hanging in there. On that, there's supposed to be one, and because that's a wider width on those, it won't fit on here. But I do believe, I haven't checked, but I believe that in here, I think it might be in my bolt supply, I have some old pin links. And so we're going to try to fit those onto this chain and basically just repair this chain so it spins freely. And then the second thing, which I'm actually going to start with, is the carburetor on this engine. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh, well, like, didn't you say that it runs great? Well, it used to, and I did give it a clean, and it's not that. Basically, for a while, what would happen is from the ethanol over the years, you know, the seat in the carburetor that the needle pokes up into to seal the shutoff, to shut the fuel off so it doesn't flood, you know, that expanded, so it was barely getting any fuel supply, which was making the bowl run down before it had a chance to fill up, essentially. So what I did is I found another seat, it's a little tiny little piece, and I found one of those, and I installed it, and then it started flooding because I guess I didn't install it correctly. So I did buy an entire new carburetor. You may have seen it in that shed. It's and so we're just going to be replacing the carburetor entirely. You know, you might as well give it a new thing, and that'll hopefully make it run a lot better. It's pretty much the exact replacement with this little knob lever thing for the choke over here. So I guess we're going to start working on that first, and we're going to see if we can get it running good. I'll show you the carburetor over here. Here's the box. Let me just pop it open. Here it is. And I looked up Briggs & Stratton tiller carburetor because that engine behind the racing mower is for a tiller on the Go-Kart. So here it is. Came with a new intake gasket, which is really cool. So yeah, this will be really useful. So let's go ahead and start by installing this. I'll speed it up and we'll see if we can get this thing running good. Alright, so you can't really see it, but I got the Go-Kart propped up on this yellow thing. It was already, but the wheels spin freely. Well, because of that chain thing they don't, but, you know. So let's get this carburetor off, pop the new one on, fill it up with gas again, because the flooding with the carburetor, when that little seat became messed up inside, it basically started letting too much gas in, so it was basically just flooding out of the intake, and it wasted this entire tank of gas. I mean, there's still a little bit in here because it's gravity fed, not all of it came out, but yeah, most of it got just wasted out of here, unfortunately. So yeah, this tank is pretty much empty. Let me just check inside, see what it looks like. Oh yeah, it's completely empty now because it's evaporated over bits of time. But all right, so let's pull this old carb off. Let's start with taking this line off. Gotta get my pliers. Okay, let's get started. Here's all my tools. Absolutely no fuel whatsoever in there. The new carb also came with this little attachment, so we won't need to transfer that. Pretty hard angle to get in there, but we got it. Okay. Alright, that's both screws out. Get this linkage out of here. Carburetor throttle thing right here is really rusty, but there it is. There's even some fuel in there, I still hear it. That was easy to get off. Let's pop the new one on. Brand new, mint condition. Also gonna need to transfer this little mini manifold thing here. This is really clever how, sorry for my camera, it's really clever how these tabs fit into here. Tabs of the gasket. Makes a perfect seal. Alright, linkage is installed. Now, I don't want to torque these down super hard, but I am going to try to use a little more torque on these to make sure the gasket seals correctly. Yeah, those definitely need more. The drill can't get as much torque as the socket set can on these bolts. There we go. That one was better. There we go. There's a new choke setup. Feels so much smoother than before. Alright, the linkages are all installed. Let's plug this fuel line in. And let's see if we can get it to start. This thing doesn't need a battery, it's just a pull start. There's nothing else other than, spark fuel and compression for these simple engines. See if we can get it to start. I'm going to fill the tank up after I get this little clip thing on. I think I got it. Let's fill it up. Okay, got the gas. I took the chain off the little centrifugal clutch because I don't want the wheels trying to spin, and I don't want the chain straining any more than it needs to once it starts. Should be enough for a test. So the kill wire on this thing, in case you're wondering, is you just touch this to the block to kill it. So when it's not touched, then it'll run. The throttle, it should be on idle. That's my custom throttle. It's dripping a tiny bit over here with fuel, but I think it's just because this was loose. I pushed it in, it doesn't seem like it's doing it anymore, so that's good. Okay. Alright, choke is on. Let's give it a pull. First start in a while. Sounds really good. Looks like the new carburetor did the trick. Now, let's work on that chain. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring that little linkage piece over, and then we'll try to get it figured out. So guys, I actually got a little nervous for a second because I thought that the extra little pieces like this piece that would go behind the actual clip would be in here, because I saw them in there for a long time. But I must have moved them because I actually ended up finding them in here in my toolbox, or this little mini toolbox where I keep some supplies. This is what it looks like. Do not want to drop that. It's that little piece. And then of course we've got over here the actual clip that I'm going to use. So let's head back over to the Go-Kart and we can use that piece. I just did that off camera. But I got a little nervous. I was like, oh no, do I not have the correct length? Because I'm not using these again, like I mentioned. But it looks like I do. So let's get started on that chain work. Okay, so here's the old chain. So what I'm going to do, I typically like to make a chain, in my opinion, properly tight. You can't really necessarily put it on because it won't even want to go on if you try to hook it like that. So I just link it in the middle of the axle and then hook it on, like by just forcing it by turning it over this cog, if that makes sense. I know it's pretty windy out here. It might be a little hard to hear me. So first let's put this little piece on. Probably gonna need to hammer it. Not. Let's see here. That piece went on. This is a little harder than I thought it would be, but still got to fiddle with it a little more. I had to straighten this piece out, haha, because it was I actually bent it when trying to put it on, which I know sounds crazy. I'm gonna keep trying this because it seems like it's just a little too. The one side hole goes on fine, and the other side. Oh, hang on. Oh, there we go. Right as I started saying that. Not on perfectly though. It needs to be. There we go. It's going. It's going. Okay. So to finalize this. There we go. That looks really good, actually. We got the thing exposed perfectly. Perfect. Now let's put that little clip on. So, I don't even know if you guys could really see, but let's get out that little clip piece. There's actually, oh yeah, see there's the, so it's right here. This one, it's a little too loose, but it does fit strong enough. Well, I assume. I don't know if it's going to fit strong enough, but let's hope. So, it goes like this. Onto there, like that. Gotta kind of bang it in. Carefully. Here we go. I think we pretty much got it in. Not perfect. I'd like it to be all the way down, I feel. I guess I'll fiddle with it a tiny bit more and see if I can get it better than this. I don't want to lose the progress that I have, though, because it does like to slip off. Oh. That did something. It's on the one side, but I guess the other side is not into the pin, which doesn't help. Here. It's kind of a clever idea with the pliers. I think it's just, yeah, it's super close. I'll fiddle around until I get it, I guess, or maybe I won't get it, but we'll see. Oh, hear that click? That was it. That looks a lot better now. That was really good. I think we got it now. Now let's see if we can fit it onto this sprocket here. Well, actually, yeah, I guess I'll do that. It's off the ground, so yeah, see the chain just follows. You gotta keep it on there. And when it gets, there we go, and it gets to the end, then you just keep forcing it, and then you're gonna hear a pop. There we go. Boom. It's on. See? Can you guys see? Yeah, you can. Let's just roll it through. Where is our little piece? It's right there. Sometimes working it past these things can help it. I'm gonna oil this. I'll use some lubricant. You can just rock it back and forth. You can sometimes free these things. Because the chain has sat for a little while. Again, I want to lubricate it. I'm not sure what that is. That's just a stuck, not a bearing, whatever you call it, stuck linkage, stuck link on the chain. pretty smooth, I will say. So next step I think is to, let me zoom you guys out. Next step we're gonna fire it up and see with the wheels raised off if we can get it to disengage and engage. And the centrifugal clutch, when the wheels aren't on the ground, you can usually stop it with your hand or your foot, even though it's spinning, because it does the way these centrifugal clutches work is the flyweights fling out with centrifugal force when the RPMs raise. So when you rev it, those weights get stronger, they fly out more, which kind of holds the wheel. It locks it in the drive mode or whatever, the running mode. Okay, let's fire this thing up and see if we can get that wheel to spin and for it to work correctly. Probably gonna need to lubricate it as well though. Wonder if it would start off choke. That'd be cool. It's gonna need choke. Well, we fixed it, that's it. Works perfectly. I feel like I should still lubricate it just for good measure, but since it's been sitting for a little while, but that's pretty much it. It's working really nicely. So now the final step I think is to take it for a spin and make sure that everything stays on under load. So let's do that. Alright, I got my helmet POV cam set up, and we are going to ride this go-kart around the yard a little bit. Now that we've got it all fixed up, first I'll take this lift out from underneath. Let's push it up into the yard. This seat that I had is super wet from all the rain, so I'm just gonna not use it. Super heavy and wet, made of towels. I'll just sit on this. I won't be driving it too much, so this seat right here is really hard, which is why I have the towels, but since I'm not going to be driving it too much, I just want to give it a test. Let's push it out. Okay. Alright. Choke is on. Here we go. We got gas. Yep. I knew we would. I'm just checking. Here we go. It worked. Okay, here we go. Fun. well. That worked super well. I loved how that went. Well guys, so that wraps up this little repair video. I feel happy with how it turned out. Glad I got this thing ripping again. So be sure to hit like on this video. Really helps me out. Comment down below if you have any thoughts on this cool build that I did here and the repairs that I did. And of course, as always, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more cool videos like this. That's it for now, and I'll see you in my next video.